5 things that I really learned or surprised me about tailwheel flying and backcountry flying. Hey, it's Steve. Welcome back to Clear Direct. So I'm on day 4. First 3 days was just tailwheel training and Kitfox conversion, and day 4 today is all backcountry training. And if I have learned anything, it's that I have a lot to learn. And so in today's video, I just want to go into kind of my experience, because I haven't been able to video very much of my training. I didn't want to. I wanted to really focus on the training itself. And thanks to Leon and Paul at Stick Rudder Aviation for this whole experience. This has been awesome. So I just wanted to talk about kind of what I was prepared for, what I wish I would have learned more, what I messed up on a couple points. So first off, what I think I was ready for was I did a lot of self-study. I did a lot of GA flying in the recent past. I did a lot of rudder flying in the F-15, high alpha, behind the power curve. So that I think really helped. My enthusiasm is obviously pretty high about this. I limited distractions during this week, and I brought a healthy dose of humility and I guess a sense of humor to it. So that all helps. Now let's get into the lessons learned. By no means am I an expert, and again, that's kind of the attitude you got to take is, man, be a sponge, as in with any flight training program. The first thing I learned, number 1, a low inertia airplane is very different than a lot of the planes that I've been flying. It responds very quickly, but in turn you have to respond quickly to it and to wind gusts, etc. Which brings me to my number 2 point. The throttle felt really loose to me, so initially I tightened down the friction, and so it felt a little more comfortable, a little bit more heavy in my hand. That ended up not being good. I ended up fighting the throttle a little bit. I ended up wearing a blister on my thumb on the collar of the throttle, trying to fly it like a Bonanza. No, you gotta fly it with, your index and middle finger and your thumb, just kind of, playing with it constantly. And related, number 3 is, I mentioned the rudder pedals, but man, the rudders, you're dancing on them. I fought my left foot a lot. What I realized was, I was giving it right rudder, but my left foot was stiff and preventing that rudder from taking effect. So what helped me was sliding my heels back, putting my toes below the toe brakes, and really just kind of dancing on them and not really touching one pedal or the other unless it was intentional. Okay, so hitting right rudder, but leaving your left foot light on the rudder pedal or even off the rudder pedal, but really close, because you really could. Remember, number 1, it's responsive and it requires you to be responsive too, so tap that left rudder pedal as soon as you need to. My shoes were too thick. They say to bring thin-soled shoes. I thought running shoes would be good, but these things, my instructor kind of laughed. They got big soles on them, so think about using some Olakais or 510s or climbing shoes or something like that, because you can't really feel the rudder pedals as much as you'd like. Okay, number 4. Most of my time is in high inertia airplanes, but it's also in either single seat fighter on center line, or if I'm in a left or a right seat, it's got a relatively flat nose. The exception is the Boeing 737. You pick your aim point based upon a bolt on the windshield wiper. This is similar, and this Rotax cowling has a big gearbox hump that draws your eyes to it off your aim point. And I struggle with that till I found that there's a bolt specifically on this airplane on the glare shield that becomes my aim point. But still, I know it, but I still transition back to that gearbox hump. And so I'm tending to slip a little bit to the left and having to tap right rudder. My instructor keeps saying right rudder on short final. I finally, day 4, getting it through my brain that the aim point is that bolt straight out in front of me, not the gearbox, and keep a little bit of right rudder to keep the airplane straight, even on short final without a lot of power. And as you tailwheel pilots already know, landing with any sort of a slip on a tailwheel aircraft is a recipe for just not a good landing, or even worse, a ground loop. Number 5, on wheel landings, it takes practice and chair flying to remember to push the stick forward on touchdown and pull it to idle. Pulling it to idle is pretty natural, but pushing the stick forward is just not. And I found myself having a little bit of a fear that I'm gonna nose over. Well, unless you hit a gopher hole or on the brakes, you're not gonna nose over. ton of prop clearance, ton of elevator authority if you need to bring the stick back a little bit to fly the tail wheel to the ground. That was a little bit hard to learn, and I'm still learning. I've got a lot to learn, and that's kind of the whole message here is I learned a lot, but I'm just learning what I've got yet to learn. Like it's less of a mystery now, but I still have a lot to learn, and it's been an amazing journey. So I'm so excited. A week from today, I get my RANS S-21 Outbound, start putting it together. I'll be making some build videos. I'm gonna definitely have to get a refresher in about a year when I'm ready to fly it, so I can do phase 1 on my own. I'm so thankful, and quite honestly in awe of Leon and Paul and all those backcountry pilots with a lot of backcountry cred. Hopefully I'll get there one day, but for now, I know my place. And with the magic of editing, fast forward a couple days, the S-21 Outbound kit is here. Clearly, I'm in the organizational phase right now. I haven't even started inventorying. I'm also in the table build phase. So this was actually the crate that, you know, half of the components came into. 1 crate, 2 crates. I got all the kits. The only thing I'm missing is the engine right now and avionics. So, but with this crate, I figured with the cost of lumber, just use this, repurpose all these 2x2s, and try to make a structurally sound, as flat as I can table. Did buy some MDF boards. So hit that subscribe button if you want to follow along with the delivery and the table build, and then of course onto the build, and then into my backcountry adventures a little bit down the road. But anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. Oh, before I sign off, check out this new YouTube channel, new to me anyway. It's Corey Robbins' second channel called Relaxing Flights. He just kind of long form blasts all his just awesome flying footage, backcountry, and then I think this is going into Truckee from Trent Palmer's house, and he puts kind of relaxing music to it. So it'll be playing in the shop when there's not a Dodgers game on. But anyway, thanks again for joining. Talk to you guys in the next one. Till then, clear direct.